Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Hardison with Seadog Travels, and with me is Naomi Rosari from Lucian Explora in St. Lucia. Hey, Naomi, how you doing?
Hey Paul, I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining me and kind of introducing people to St. Lucia and what it's like to be there and what's there to do and everything from, Carnival to Rodney Bay and beyond. And so what we're going to do, what I thought would be a good way to start this, I'm going to share my screen and a little movie just to get people kind of, especially for people who've never been there, to have an idea of what it's like there. And we're going to go into much more detail. So let's watch this. All right. So as you're watching this, just see it's from St. Lucia. We'll go into much more detail, but there's this music playing right now, so not missing anything in the sense of any commentary, but just to give you a feel for the island, and it's such a diverse place as far as the nature and the people and what there is to do, and that's kind of what this is all about. So just a little visual for you here. I wonder if this is Anne's chest name.
Let me see. I need to watch the
And there's
area.
the pitons in the distance.
No, that one is Soufre Beach. That's when you're just entering Soufre. So where the guys are jumping off the cliff, that's Soufre Beach area.
It really is a quintessential Caribbean destination. So if you've never been there and kind of doing this presentation for people who've never been there, is to give you an idea of the diversity of things to do. All right, this is almost over. And then once this is up, then I'm going to launch Google Earth and we will get into the details with Naomi. All right, very good. So let me stop that. All right, so here we are on Google Earth, and I want to highlight this. So you see, we're basically centered on the Caribbean here, and St. Lucia, in case you don't know, is in the Southern Caribbean. Let's zoom in on it. All right. Now, do you see that, Naomi?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Naomi, tell us a little bit about you and your business. You're from St. Lucia. You live there. You obviously know it intimately. Um, Tell us about what business you have there.
Okay, so Lucian Explora is all about doing curated, services for any client whatsoever. It doesn't matter if they're looking for a resort stay or a villa or Airbnb on a super tight budget. It really doesn't matter. So normally somebody would come to me and they would say, "Hey, I want to come to St. Lucia. and I'm trying to stay this place, or I only have this amount of money. What can you do for me? So that's how it starts. I wouldn't say no to a job. So as long as it's anything strictly St. Lucian, from start to finish, Lucian Explorer takes care of the client from the time they land until they leave the island. Before, when it was, probably just me and a few other people, I was able to be going around with clients much more often, being here and there, doing activities and stuff. But now it's come to the point where I kind of have to take the step back for certain things and stay behind the screen and plan trips and do stuff for clients whilst I let the workers do the job. But I pop up from time to time because everybody always wants to know where's the owner. Well, they call me Dora. So a lot of times people would hear Dora Lucian Explorer or the girl with the green hair. That's how I'm referred to on island. It's how a lot of clients know me. But business wise, I don't really have a limit in terms of what Lucian Explorer provides. It's whatever you need, St. Lucia across the board.
And that includes transportation, that includes tours and anything else, right?
Every single thing.
Excellent.
I do destination weddings, whatever kind of dinners, anniversaries, honeymoons. There's nothing really that a client has asked me ever to do, and I have not been able to fulfill it.
Yeah, that's great. And between Naomi and I have been working together for about how long has it been now? About is it been going on 2 years now?
Yes, about that.
Yeah, and between Seadog Travels, being able to provide transportation to the island, and Lucian Explora providing the experiences on the island, we can really offer that all-inclusive experience in one package. And as Naomi said, for groups, we can do, gosh, do we have a size limit for groups? What's the biggest group you've had in the past?
In the past, one of the biggest, it was like almost 100. I think it was 98 people.
Okay.
And this month, actually, I have a big group coming in towards the end for 88 people. So there's not really a limit. I mean, the bigger the groups, then you have to resort to the hotels. So most times when large groups, like say 100 plus, come, they would stay at Royalton. That's the most popular for the big groups, just because of the availability with the setting and everything to house so many people. But generally, when it's like, say, probably 40 and below, I would always try to encourage them to do villa stays because we do have some villas. One of the most popular one on island that could actually take that number count is our Paris villas. So I would always encourage them, okay, do it that way. You save a ton more than all the different things that you spend at the resort, and you probably don't get that private service, or you're not able to tweak or get certain things a particular way. So in doing that, they're able to get a private service and everything is like VIP to them only versus staying at the resorts. But ideally it's any number. I don't really have a limit. It's
Sure.
just whatever works at the point.
Sure, sure. And I think you mentioned when you talking about customizing and making it a personal experience, I think that's very important. It's not just taking people around and such. It's much more intimate experience that you can't find in a lot of other places.
Yeah,
So,
usually when you deal with people, it's not just about tours. A lot of times with like the bigger companies, because of so much volume, it's just all about, hey, you book your tour, you do your tour, and then you go back to your resort and that's it. But then with Lucian Explorer, we try to make that connection where it feels more like a home away from home versus just a vacation.
right, yeah, exactly. That's really, and personalization is really important today, because people want something different. They want something better. Just traveling somewhere is not really the goal anymore. It's having a local experience. So let's just go around the island a bit. I'm going to zoom on stuff, Naomi, in Google Earth here so people see it, and then we
Mhm.
can chat about it. And feel free to interrupt anytime. But the airport, is Huanora the international airport? There's not another one, is there?
Yeah, so Urinora is the big international airport. That's where all the big planes come in. We have the George Eiffel Trials, which is VG and Castries, but that's only for like the smaller aircraft, like any of these small aircrafts that go throughout the Caribbean or and like DHL, FedEx, these Korea aircrafts. That's they always go to the north of the island, and also the helicopters. So like a lot of people when they come into the main airports, you're in Aura, and they take a helicopter across. That's where they go to the second airport. But our second airport, that's something I always have to explain to people. No, you can't just go straight there. The only way you could hop from Urinora to the VG airport is if you take a helicopter.
Okay. And I've been to Huanora. I have been to St. Lucia myself twice via tall ship. And so I've had the chance to be on the island for a few days. I thought the airport was nice. I liked it. And transportation from when people land at the airport, Naomi, typically people either hire a driver or get a rental car. Is that right?
Yes, so most times you would hire a driver because not everybody wants to be dealing with traffic. Like as soon as you land, you're tired, you're jet lagged in a sense, and you really don't want to deal with it. So you would either take the taxi or you would get your rental car ahead of time. You could sign up, like I get the rentals done, or even when you get to the airport, if you haven't made up your mind, there's a lot of booths that you could just walk to and then tell them, okay, can you get a rental? And they would sort it out.
Yeah, and I kind of prefer or suggest you hire a driver because that's what I did, and to up to Rodney Bay and back, and we stopped the thing. Yeah, Naomi, well, I don't think I've ever mentioned this to you, but on the drive up to Rodney Bay, and I don't even know where this was on the island, kind of middle, but we stopped at this little food shack on the side of the road, and it was this big wood-fired oven, and there was, reggae blaring, and this old guy in this oven was cooking just fresh bread with cheese.
I think you're talking about the Tomaso local bread stop. That's
Uh,
just after you pass Dennery.
yeah, I didn't know the name of it. We just stopped there and walked over. It was not even a planned stop, but it was great because it was, it's local, it's not touristy. It was pretty awesome, and it was just me and the driver.
How long ago though since you came to the island?
It's been a while. Last time was in 2018.
Okay, well, a lot has changed then, because I was trying to figure out why you were saying it's just like the little shack on the side of the road, because a lot of have they've upgraded. So you have the oven, and then they have the little hut now where they have like a glass case with different things too, in addition to the bread. So usually when you stop to get the bread, in the afternoon is like the main time, so you would get the really fresh, hot bread. They give you either you get salami with it, you could put it with cheese, butter, there's saltfish, sausage. They also give you ham, so you have much more variety.
Oh, that's great. It was absolutely fabulous. I love that. And that's what I like. So it was just perfect. So all right, so yeah, flying into Huanora, it's pretty easy. There are a lot of flights, and it's not that long of a trip for especially from the east coast of the US. From New York to St. Lucia was only a few hours.
It's like 4 hours.
Right,
JetBlue
yeah.
straight flight from JFK.
Yeah, it was, I think I flew from Newark, but yeah, it's same difference. Easy flights, and it's just nothing really difficult about it at all. So let's start roaming around the island a bit, Naomi. Give me a location and I'll put it in the map and let's go somewhere.
Okay, well, let's just start from origin. So after you land in the south, majority of people they stay in the north. So we'll just guide our way from the south to the east, go to the north and make the round west coast and come back.
Okay. Give me a destination and I can
So
go
let's
there.
say let's say we're starting in the south area of
Mhm.
Viewport. So in the south area, generally people always ask like what resorts are there. There's a limited number of resorts right there in the south, like convenience of not having to do that almost near 2 hour drive to the north. People would stay at Coconut Bay. Now, Coconut Bay is a family friendly resort. They also have the adults only side of it, the Harmony side. I think it's called Serenity. Yeah. So you have a lot of honeymooners. They would stay at either Serenity. Family people would stay at Coconut Bay. That's literally 5 minutes away from the airport. So that's the convenience. The only thing that's ticklish with the south side of the island when you're staying there is very limited on what you have available to do. But that being said, depending on what the person wants out of their vacation, if they stay at Coconut Bay, there's more than enough to entertain them in a sense because they have these themed nights, they have the splash park, they have all these different clubs and activities for like the teens and kids and adults together, like, family stuff. So there's enough to entertain you at the resort. If you're stepping outside of the resort when you're on the south side of the island, you're about approximately 40 minutes away from Soufrière, where everybody goes to for them to do like the mud baths, the rum tasting, the waterfalls, the history tours at like Montcubarel Estate. Or if you want to go to a farm, there's one you could go in Soufrière as well. Taste whatever is in season. They give you a rundown of stuff. They probably make you plant something. So that's like 40 minutes away from, if you're staying anywhere in the south, that's 5 to 10 minutes away from the airport.
Yeah, that's really convenient. And actually, that's a part of the island I didn't concentrate on because I went north right away. So I didn't even, I've heard of you for it, but I haven't been there.
Yeah, View Fort is only for certain travelers. It's not for everybody because there's a lot of people, they like the nightlife. They like to have the options of the different restaurants. Like when you're in the south, you barely have maybe at least four good restaurants to say that's like what you would go to and everybody would be popular. There's one right by the airport, Fay Gastronomy right now, but that one you have to have a good bit of money in your pocket to go to. I don't think anybody who's gone to dinner there has spent any less than probably 300 US. So it's like a really fine dining atmosphere.
Okay.
Anything else around there is more like street food, like they would have probably on the weekend. There's people on Sandy Beach, which is just across from the hotel. They would have all kinds of different food, like when we would do our bouillon, our grills with fish, whatever seafood is available at the time, when lobster is in season, or you would get like probably they have like crab kalaloo, or they would do grilled pork or grilled liver, kidney, like the stuff that we like. So you would get more of that in the South because it's more cultural. It's more a local vibe. Locals, we don't really look for like, fancy hotels to spend a ton of money. Sorry, not hotels, restaurants to spend a ton of money. We'll just go wherever we could probably spend 20 EC and buy a decent plate of food for dinner.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what you get. That's what you get more in that area.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's really nice though. All right. Take me somewhere else, Dora.
So let's go to the east. So let's say we're leaving the south, like we left the airport and we're driving up on the east coast. You would go through the village of Mikud, which is a
Oh,
nice little community, which most of our communities are on the coastal edge of the island. So one thing that you should note is all our communities, they have their own primary school and secondary school. I think y'all call it elementary and high school.
yeah.
So they have that. They have their own police station, their own fire station, their health center, kind of a bit their own little world in a sense. Like they could handle themselves without the city. So you're passing through Mikod, then you would approach Dennery, which is very well known on the map. That's the same area with the bread place. You
Uh,
would go.
January. Is it on the coast?
Yes, it's on the coast. So if you're coming from the south and you're just going up, gliding up. Let me
Got
save
it.
it.
Okay.
See where you
Oh,
are
there it
right
is.
now.
I found it. All right, good deal. Go, keep going.
Yes. So January, you get some people who would stay in these parts, but it's mostly Airbnbs, and it's people who would get rentals because they want to live like a local. They don't want to do anything, super touristy. They just want to blend right in. So you get some people living in these areas if they decide to. But moving past there, whilst we were going through Mikud, we could have seen one waterfall, the Latil Falls. January, there's Erad Falls, and then you also get the zip line in treetop.
Okay,
So that
cool.
one is smaller. That one is smaller than the one in the north. A lot of people don't really go to that one because of the distance in between. but it's really nice. And in that same area, you have the waterfall. They also do like bike rides in the forest as well.
Okay, great.
So moving along, the East Coast doesn't really have so much to offer. It's more just trees, like really nature scenery in that sense. You see the water. It doesn't have too much touristy stuff to offer.
Hey, well,
So,
I have one question for you before you go on to the next site. Um, where on the island are I don't want to call them Aboriginals, the natives? Um, I remember, I think it was on Saint Lucia, the native, the original inhabitants. Is there still a pocket of them living up in the mountains?
oh, there's one family in particular. I forget what they call them, but Nati. There's this guy they call him Nati Conqueror. His entire family they grew up in the hills itself. They're actually based in Dennery. So there's
Okay.
an area in Dennery where they do the ATV excursions, and there's one guy in particular. He takes you all the way up the mountain to their residence.
Okay, very cool.
So I don't know about like the native if they have anybody, like in the Amazon, how these people live totally
Yeah,
different away from civilization. I'm not aware of that.
I'm
So
wonder if I'm thinking of a Dominica.
I'm not
But
sure.
anyway, go ahead. All right, I see Rainforest Adventure St. Lucia just north of Dennery. What's that all about?
The rainforest adventures, that's like in the north area of the island. So it shows close to Dennery because there's a certain path in Dennery that if you take it, you could actually walk across the mountain and you're in the Foaso Babuno area, which that's the home to the rainforest adventure. But it's closer in the north area. So that's another zip lining area. They also do trails, and that's where they have the only aerial tram on island. So that's what that one is.
All right, and I'm just moving up north now to the coast.
Mm-hmm. So by the time you get to the north of the island, that's where you hit all the big resorts like the Three Sandals. There's in Castries itself, you have Rendezvous. Then when you're moving up, you have Secrets. There's East Winds, Windjammer. By the time you get to Rodney Bay, have the Bay Garden resorts. You have a lot of villas and Airbnbs in that area as well. Well, Starfish and the Mystic Inn are no longer. They demolished it bit me.
Demolished them, yes.
they, they demolished them. They demolished them and they said they're putting up some new resorts, but nobody has really kind of put the plan out there as yet. But it said that it's going to be really nice because it's right there on the beach alongside the Bay Gardens Beach Resort. So that's in the Rodney Bay area. And then when
So,
you move,
yeah, for Rodney Bay, I've got the up there on the island. Now, I'm thinking of Pigeon Island. Where is that in respect to Rodney Bay?
so Pigeon Island is further up Rodney Bay. So you see where your mouse is at
Uh-huh.
around that area. I think that little piece, right? That little piece that's popping out there on the left. If you zoom in, because that's where you have Sandals Grand, the Landings, the Pigeon Island Fort. Yes, now you right. So you see it. There's Signal Park. There's Fort Rodney, and
Oh,
then you
okay,
see the
okay.
little yeah. So that entire area at one point it wasn't joined. So the road that connects the part of St. Lucia to Pigeon Island, it was man-made. So when you're passing on that particular road, if you could see in the picture on your right, it would be the Atlantic Ocean, and on your left, it would be the Caribbean Sea.
Oh, nice.
So a lot of times, like I would always tell people, you don't really want to stay at a resort that's on the Atlantic Ocean if you want beach. So you always have to bear that in mind. You're a beach person, you go on the Caribbean seaside.
Oh,
That's why a
absolutely.
lot of people for like Landings and for Sandals Grand, it's a
Hmm.
really nice option to stay if they love beach time. Because the beach there is like beautiful.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. Yeah, for people who haven't been to the Caribbean much, is you don't want rough seas.
No.
when you're there, because you
It's
want to
funny how
be.
different it is when you're actually on that road driving to Pigeon Island. You see the complete difference. If you look on the right, the water is rough. And then when you go onto the left, it's so calm and nice and warm. It's a
Yeah,
total difference.
no waves. Yeah, definitely. So, talk a little bit about Rodney Bay. I had an image of the splash park up a bit, but what all is there to do in Rodney Bay, and what's going on there?
So Rodney Bay is like the main hub. So anybody who goes in the north, they go because they want nightlife, they want city life, they want like restaurants, they want to be near the malls and everything. So Rodney Bay, you have the Baywalk Mall, which has a casino in there as well. And then you have the Rodney Bay Mall. They're on opposite ends, but they're loaded with different stores and different restaurants in there as well. Around the same Rodney Bay area, that's where you would get places like Big Chef restaurant, Matthews. There's let me just break it down though. Big Chef is a little high end. It's for like burgers, steaks, more little posh life in that sense. Matthew's Rooftop is more of a local kind of vibe. They have, I can't remember if it's on the Thursdays or the Saturdays. They normally have either a live jazz person or probably the steel pan. I don't know how it's changed up as of now. I think every so often they change it around, so you have to call and ask. You have Spices of India, where they're specific on Indian cuisine. You have Amici. All of that is in like the same building, the same Baywalk Mall. You get the Matthews, Amici, which is Italian pizza, Spices of India, and then just lower down, the same Rodney Bay area, you have Kibi's, which is more of like a expats restaurant, sports bar area. You find a lot of people who just came to the island to retire. You find them there, but you also find a lot of people who are looking for somewhere to go to watch sports when they come on the island. That's the hub. That's where you go.
Oh, very
Um,
cool. What's the
yes.
Friday night street party?
The Friday night street party, that one is out of Rodney Bay. So that's closer to like where Sandals Grand is, closer to Pigeon Island. So that one is just you go straight into the street Groselay area where they have it's like a how you say it, a crossroad. Can't miss it. Everybody knows where it is. The road is blocked off, so you know it's only on the Friday nights. And the entire street usually has a lot of tents, different vendors selling all kind of grill stuff. Like you could see the smoke from a distance, which tells you, okay, that's where it is. And the music. So it's just all about like vibing with the locals, the culture. A lot of people think it's like so much of a difference to it, but it's literally hitting the streets, eating food, drinking
Yeah.
alcohol, getting a little nice in the head and dancing and enjoying the music.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
generally, yes, generally people who really want to vibe or they came just for them to have a good time, you would find them near the speakers. So they
Oh,
would be
very
in the
cool.
center. They would be in the center where everything is happening near the speakers.
Oh yeah. All right,
But the
very
only
cool.
thing I would say
Mm-hmm.
for the street party that everybody should be mindful of is you don't, especially people selling weed, you don't just take from anybody. You have to be mindful of that because there are some guys, unfortunately, they sell you like, especially if the joint is rolled, you don't buy it because you don't know what it has in it. It could be laced, and you don't want to get into that. I mean, weed, it's legal to smoke out here. A lot of people always find it taboo to ask, "Oh, can we get weed or something?" I always tell them, "Well, it's legal to smoke it. It's just for you not to have a ton of it on you."
Good point. Yeah, good advice there. All right, let's
Yeah.
move a little bit south along the coast. What's we got?
Okay, so if you're leaving Rodney Bay area, going back on the west coast.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're in the Castries area, that's where you would want to probably visit the Lighthouse VG area or just go around, see the ruins, take some history in. There's a lot of remaining cannons in the area. You have to get somebody who knows the area though, that they
Mhm.
would tell you. So that's why we have these specific tours arranged, which could be more guided. You could do the market. Castries Market, it is the liveliest on a Saturday morning because that's when they block off the road and the street vendors come in the center of the market and load up until 12. So if you're looking for a really busy market day, best time to go is early Saturday morning. All the other days is busy as well, but it's not the same vibe because you have a lot of different vendors coming on the Saturday that won't be there during the week.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay, good.
if if it's something that a client is also interested in, like the cathedral church or the square, or they just want to walk around the Castries area, like a city walk and just take in the vibes. There's a lot that they could do with just that. Guided again. I wouldn't recommend to just go walking off on your own unless it is a case where, some people they take their rentals and they're seasoned travelers and they know what they're about.
Mhm.
Um, Also, another thing to bear in mind, anytime you're walking around the island, it doesn't matter where you are, anywhere. Please do not put anything on you that calls somebody to you, like any brand name stuff or any blinged out jewelry. I mean, it could happen anywhere. It's not that the island is dangerous or people intentionally do you stuff, but you don't intentionally put yourself in a situation to say, "Hey, here's me, come get me."
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
yes. And even when you're wearing your bags with probably money or anything that you hold, it's either you strap it in front of you or you make use of your pockets. So try not to have anything on your back because, any day somebody could be tempted. They're hungry today or something. Somebody who doesn't have a job, they see you, they just target you. It's unfortunate it happens, but we want to be mindful to just not be in the position.
Yeah,
Moving along.
and it's always good to be in don't be by yourself, definitely.
Yes. It's much better when you have a local walking around with you too, because then somebody knows, okay, that person, I definitely cannot mess with them.
Yeah. All right. Very cool.
So if you're exiting Castries area now and you're going where we call up the Marne, you could get a pretty nice view of the entire Castries all the way up to the Pigeon Island point. So that's somewhere people like to just stop to get pictures. There's a lot of vendors in the area there as well if you want to get souvenirs and stuff. Some people visit the Udovic Art Studio for wooden craft. It's something that even when you list out everything, I'll give you the details to put it in. But
Hey,
sometimes,
interrupting just a sec here because I've been there, so I got to bring it up because I really like it. Marigot Bay.
oh, we haven't reached Marigo yet.
I
We don't pass
um
it yet.
oh, I'm at a different Marigot then. Ha!
Yeah,
Is it
We
farther
come into
south?
Marigo. So we're driving on the way to Marigo right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, we got to Marigo. We skipped past the road, the other points. It was just basically viewpoints. We get to Marigo, and yes, it's a pretty cove. That's where you get a lot of the yachts. A lot of the rich people come to dock their boats there because it's like the safest space on island. Whenever they have hurricanes or anything, people with expensive boats, that's where they come to dock.
And they have there are resorts on both sides of the bay, if I recall. Is that right?
Yes. So you have Zoe Tree and then you have the Marigot Bay Inn on the other side. And then there's the famous restaurant Dr. Doolittle's, because that's where Dr. Doolittle's was filmed. The old
Uh,
film. I actually never seen it.
oh, very cool. Yeah, I stayed on one's the hotel on I think the north side of the bay, and yeah, it's secluded. That's what I liked about it is it's you see the entrance to the inner bay there. That's pretty narrow, really, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very quiet, secluded, really pleasant place.
Yeah, when you stay at Marigot Bay, it's like if you just want relaxation, just peace, tranquility. Like it's nothing like the north. It's a totally, totally different feeling to the north. So for there, you get amazing sunsets as well. A lot of times when we're ending like a boat ride, we would just pass in between the area where you see all the boats are, and we swing around just to show people the hotel and just the views. And then there's a bunch of coconut trees. I don't know if you remember on the beach itself.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so it gives you that really pretty nice drop for the sunset.
All
I think
right,
that's what people
excellent.
generally love about it. That area too is it's loaded with a lot of villas and Airbnbs too. It's not just the
Oh,
resort. So if people are looking to do their own thing and they want to go to Marigo Bay, look up the villas there, especially the ones way on top of the hills. That is the most breathtaking views you could get for a sunset.
oh, nice. That's good to know. All right, where are we going next?
Well, we keep going. So from Marigo, we keep going west. So along that way, you passing through Ancillary. Ancillary is home to really pretty waterfalls. Those are not touristy waterfalls. So if anybody has to do it, it has to be guided. It's a really nice village that sometimes people stop and they venture out and about, go to the church, just go and like talk to the village people and stuff. When you're driving through there, it's really, really colorful. A lot of people tell me it reminds them of New Orleans.
Oh, very cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you pass through there, then it's more drive. You pass the cassava bread place, which is another popular stop for people. Um, oh, I think I'm missing the Marigo Bay area. That's where they have the rum distillery factory as well. Some
Okay.
people do that too. And as you're going along, you would hit canneries. That's another small community there. They rely solely on fishing for their livelihood. A lot of people, that's what they do there. The others, they work in like, government offices or at hotels and stuff. And then you get to Soufre. So Soufre is the area. Where you at now? Let me see.
I just moving off of Canneries going down to Safrare.
Yeah. Canneries also has that Caco Set Lisi chocolate shop.
Ah, okay.
It opened a couple. It's like a few years now, but it's locally owned. So I always try to tell people go support the locally owned one. Hotel Chocolat is an international owned. It's nice. The experience is totally different, but if you're in the name of supporting local, you would visit Caco Set Lisi first.
Okay, good. All right, we're in Safrare now.
So Soufre, that's where we have the famous Jade Mountain, which is like close to 2,000 US per person a night. And then you have the Anshasni Resort. You have Sugar Beach. You have a lot of villas in that area as well. Stonefield. What's the other one? Ladera. There's the Hotel Chocolat Rabots. So these are where you get these luxury kind of resorts. It's more
Yeah.
for honeymooners in that spot. Sugar Beach, they do families, but majority of the resorts in the Soufre area, it's adults only.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to, yeah, Little Sugar Beach is a bit south of Safrare, right?
Yes. So it's
Yeah,
almost like you're coming out of Soufre already.
right. Yeah, it's just south. And
I
I've
think I
been
think you got it
to,
there.
yeah, I Sugar Beach, and I've been to Anse Chastanet, and um, I really liked that resort. And we came by ship, so it was a different kind of feel. We weren't on land. We were off the coast and came in to a port, and the beach is just to give people an idea of how friendly the locals are, is that I was just walking on the beach. Guy just came up to me and started striking a conversation. So we talked for a while and walked on the beach, and it was just chill, and it's a good time. And you can see it is a little bit secluded. There's not much around outside of Anse Chastanet, maybe a little bit to the east of it, but there are really nice properties and really nice beaches up and down the coast.
Yeah, so Sugar Beach is the white sand beach and Shasney is the black sand beach. So
And
a
it's
lot of
still
times people try to figure out the difference between one is more volcanic
right.
remains and then the other I think it was from either Barbados and Guyana they brought in the sand for Sugar Beach. I
Oh,
think
okay.
if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
Yeah, but Sugar Beach is the main spot for if people want to do like easy snorkeling and see a lot of fish. They have a marine reserve in that area, so it's always one of the popular. And then again, it's right between Gopito and Piti Pito. So for like pictures and stuff, people absolutely love that area.
Oh, yeah. All
At
right.
Anshasti, when you do snorkeling, you get to see more of like the big corals under the water. It's
Mhm.
where people start, they do the diving. A lot of divers start off from there.
Oh, very cool. All right, we're down to the pitons now. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I tried, well, I shouldn't say tried. I climbed the pitons once and I'm never gonna do it again.
Oh, says it pretty steep. Mm.
Yes, it is. So Gopito, the thing with this is a lot of people do Gopito and Pitipito. Now, Gopito is the one that they have a base, everything is arranged, and they give you guides and whatnot to climb it from the bottom of the pito. That takes you about say 2 hours up, 2 hours down. It could be a little bit more. So Gopito, I think it's about 798 meters in height, and Pitipito is 743 meters in height. The difference with the two is PTP tour has no trail. It's just literally rope climbing. It's something that's a little bit more challenging, I would say. So somebody who wants to challenge themselves, they would do the PTP tour at their own risk.
Okay.
But Gopito, it has a nice little village to the base of it as well. So that's something people explore if they want to. It's a really nice hike. Don't get me wrong. I'm just probably a little too fat, that's all. But but I think a lot of people who have done it too, they're like, well, I did it. I could say that I did it. I have proof that I did it and I'm not doing it again.
Right, right. Yeah, no kidding. I see right to the east of the pitons is the Sulphur Springs.
Yes, the mud bath, the
Hmm.
volcano and mud bath. Yeah, so that's something that people stop there just to do probably I'd say no more than 20 minutes in the mud bath because that water comes straight from the volcano and it falls up into there's four different pools. People sometimes say the pools are at different temperature. I find all of them is hot the same way. I don't know what they're talking about.
Hmm.
But you go into the pools, you get yourself wet a little bit, then you come off, you rub the sulfuric mud on you. It helps a lot with people who has like knee problems or skin problems, eczema, anything really. But the thing is, when you leave on island, that's when you get the true benefits. You cannot just come to it one day and just be like, oh, it's gonna heal everything.
Oh
But it
yeah.
gives you a really nice smooth feel after you rub the mud on and then you wash it off. So that's what the experience a lot of people go for, just the feel. And then it's two separate places though. The mud bath is a separate entrance, and then if you want to do the volcano area, that's a little further up where you would get like the history tour. They bring you closer to it, like a little on top of the volcano where you could see like the pools, the bubbling pools. But right now it's dormant though. For
Okay.
hundreds of years it's been dormant. I don't think it's going to erupt anytime soon. And they said the only time you know for sure it's going to erupt if it stops smelling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't want to have a repeat of yeah, Montserrat.
Yeah, I think the whole fact that it has these openings where the water comes out, the steam comes out, there's no buildup really. So I
Mhm.
don't see that happening at all.
Good. All right.
But it's a nice experience there. So in the Sufra area, you have all these different places, the waterfalls, the mud bath, the history area, like you could see on Hemon Kubarel Estates. They also have a little bit of zip line in there as well. They used to have horseback riding, but I think right now it's on pause. They don't have it. But the zip lining, people could do it there as well. Um, if you go into the town itself, and you walk around, there's a lot of souvenir shops. You could blend and mix with the locals, the small bars versus, the big restaurants. That's another problem too. In the Sufra area, you have a lot of limitation on restaurant areas to go to. Because a lot of times I find when people stay there and they ask where they could eat, they run out of options within a night or two.
Okay.
So that's something also to bear in mind. You have more options like if you do the resorts, like you go to Ladera or Hotel Chocolat. I think Sugar Beach allows some of it. Jade Mountain, you have to make reservations. So you can make do of the resort restaurants around, but it's something that you have to call in advance and ask their timings and all of that.
Okay. Yeah, good good to think about those things.
Yeah. Because even when booking on island, That's always the difference between where to stay. If you're somebody who likes to go out and eat and vibe, you stay in the north. But if you're staying in the west coast of the island, it's a little bit more relaxing, more reserved, more for honeymooners that's trying to stay away from people and probably make babies. So you go there and you're just content with your all-inclusive resort. But a lot of people who stay in the north of the island, they want like the nightlife. They want to be able to go to a lounge or a club or a sports bar or something. You don't really get that on the West Coast.
Okay, good.
Everything closed at a particular time.
Yeah, and just going back for the drive from the airport up to Rodney Bay, how long is that? Is that about 45 minutes or more?
From the airport to Rodney Bay with traffic right now, it runs you close to 2 hours.
Oh, it's up to 2 hours. Okay.
Yes.
So a bit of a drive.
So yes. So if it's something that people could afford, then I tell them I'll do the helicopter, which is like about 215 US per person. It's a 10-minute helicopter ride. And then you have to get a taxi to take you to your resort, which would be like about a 20 minutes ride. And then you have the option of the sea water taxi, which would be about, say, an hour. And then you still have about like probably 10-15 minutes to get to your resort via taxi.
Hmm, okay. At least people have options on how to get up north.
Yes. So you
Okay,
have the air, you have land, or you have sea.
excellent. Okay. All right, we're making our way down the West Coast. Where do you want to stop next?
So the West Coast, you're passing through areas like Chozelle, Labrie, and getting your way back up to View Fort. So that particular side of the island, it's more for people who are a little bit of seasoned travelers and like they're accustomed to going to countries and just doing their own thing because you wouldn't really get resorts in that area. It would just be Airbnbs and having people probably like kind of take you into their homes in a sense. So you're just on your own there, like a total local at that point in that particular side of the island.
Well, good. So people at least have the option. I mean, if they want, the Rodney Bay, nightlife vibe, they can do that. But if they want that local experience, then they have places they can go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good.
So
All
it's
right.
like different sections of the island. They have their own vibe and they're known for a particular thing. So in booking, if you have in mind, okay, I want beaches and I want nightlife, you're staying in the north. Even if you could get some beaches in Soufrière in the west coast, but you would not get the nightlife or the restaurants or the busyness of it. It's pretty just chill. So it's all of that. I always tell people to bear in mind. Make a list of what you're expecting, and then you weigh it out on the different sides of the island between the north, the west, or the south.
Yeah, it's a diverse island in many ways, and so people have a lot of choices. They really do.
Yep.
All right, well, we have made our way around the island. I think that's been a great overview, Naomi. I think we've given people a good sense of St. Lucia. And as I mentioned before, between Lucian Explora and Seadog Travels, we can really cater to groups of almost any size to go to the island. And I highly recommend it. I mean, it's a very lush island, as you can see from just the aerial images from above on Google Earth here, and it's quintessential Caribbean. And if you haven't been there, you really should go. So, Naomi, thanks very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time.
Likewise, it was
Uh,
lovely having you for some time after so long.
I know, I know. Tell me about it. We're going to keep this going. So, and as she and I talked about offline earlier, is we're going to do more of this and get people's impressions of people who visited the island and what they thought about it and what they did to give you even more details about St. Lucia. So stay tuned for that. So I think we'll wrap it up now. Thanks again, Naomi, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, take care.